Tina, Peter, Albert, Natalie, number 104. 100. There are podcasts that have been around since 2005 that are probably up to the thousands by now. Um, Still haven't gotten that far with mine. There's been long hiatuses, but I wanted to do this. I wanted to talk about some important subjects tonight. The Wall Street Journal is talking about embattled Secret Service chief quits. It costs $2 to know that apparently, and there's the verdict on next spring style because we need to know about spring style when we're just starting autumn because we need to be stylish for every season. Anywho, I've got some. I wanted to talk about some. Well, first of all, we've got Leah here. She's hanging out, doing the
Aloha.
thing, doing the Spanish Hawaiian,
Boarding today.
and hopefully we're gonna get some other people joining in and stuff. I wanted to talk about family tonight, but I wanted to get some people of different ages, different types of families and stuff. And Leah and I know everything about each other's families, so it's nothing really new. I wanted some new input. So let me bring up my list here. You always got to write a list on like a paper plate or something, right? Let's talk about space for a second, and then Leah, I'll get you to talk about your babysitting experiences because that sounds interesting. So if you're in the month of October, which I believe most people are at this point, it's the second here, just about to go in the third. You can look up at the sky and see lots of cool things, depending on where you are, as long as you have a fairly dark town. And here in Bethlehem, there's some patches where you can find some dark areas. Look up. I've seen satellites and stuff going by. It's nice. But for the month of October, there's a few interesting things. I saw this video that JPL put out, the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and a few little things that are going on that you might be interested in. Nothing like super crazy, but I think anything in space is awesome. So on the 8th of October, which is just in a few days, there's going to be a total lunar eclipse. And the best place to view that is going to be on the west coast of the United States. You'll get a little bit of it on the East Coast. If you're out in Maine or Rhode Island or probably like Long Island area, you may not really experience much of it because the moon is going to set before the Earth moves in front of it. So it's not going to be there for it to happen. But if you're on the West Coast, it'll work. And also, if you're on the Australian East Coast and the northern part of Japan, anywhere within those buffers, so like the mid United States will be fine, get a little bit of it. The mid Australia, the outback will get a little bit of it, maybe a tiny bit of China and stuff. There's a good. I took down the post. But that's pretty cool. A lunar eclipse is awesome because you get the Earth moving in the way, so a lot of the gases in the atmosphere and everything that the light goes through when the light from the sun goes through the edges of the Earth and things, and then kind of wraps around and hits the moon, and it kind of lights it up in this orangey glow, and kind of it dims it down a lot too. But it's a cool experience. I remember one that I saw, a really good one in Australia, probably almost a decade ago, and yeah, it's really cool. It's awesome to see. Very highly recommended if you're in an area that you can watch that. Let me. I wanted to pull up the little image for you to see here because it kind of gives a visual aid to where you can view it and that kind of thing. So that's going to be on the 8th of October, very soon. If you're watching this, get your butt on it. And just skipping through a little video here. Juicy. There's going to be a comment too. It's going to be fun. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. And it'll be at, what do I have here? It's going to be in the early morning, so it's going to be like 2:15 to 5:15. 2:15 is the Pacific time, 5:15 is Eastern time. So that would be somewhere in the afternoon in Sydney. So maybe around sunset in Sydney. Yeah, because it's going to be like almost a full moon. Yeah. So anyway, let me screen share to this thing because this is fun times. What do I got? This one here. Uh, so you can see this. The Earth comes across and then it kind of goes in this orangey glow, and then you get this. You get this. So you're not going to see much of it in South America and Africa and Europe and stuff, but a little bit of Russia, and I can see Alaska from my house, kind of stuff. It's cool. So if you're up late or early, depending on your sleep habits, then that's a cool thing to see as well. On the 19th of October, Danielle's birthday, and she decided not to join the hangout today. She is going to be turning into a comet and flying by Mars, and that's kind of what this looks like here. There's this comet sighting spring. When I zoom in, do you see it zooming in as well?
No.
Oh, bollocks.
Yeah, it's
I always
weird.
do that, and I guess. What I could do. I wonder if I can do. Oh, that's
Now it
the
works.
video is like the video is like not being responsive. So the video is staying the same size, but the text is growing. Silly. Anyway, near sunset on October 19th, around 7 p.m. or something. I think they said, yeah, well, a little bit past sunset. Mars is almost always really well visible because it's kind of that orangey glow. There's some really, really red ones that you can see sometimes, like this one here, Antares. And they just say, you look at the really bright orangey red one, look up to Mars, and you might be able to see the comet flying by, possibly with the naked eye. Binoculars or definitely a telescope will help. It might be a little bit too faded for the naked eye because it's kind of, what do they do here? They're going to pass within 81,000 miles. That's really close. Because usually they're talking millions of miles and stuff. And you'll want to look at the southwest horizon. Okay. That's great, lady. But this is, I don't know if you've ever watched a comet before, but it's quite magnificent. I remember watching, I think, what was it, Halley's Comet or Hale-Bopp? Maybe it was Hale-Bopp in 1997. And that was cool because it would be daylight and you'd be able to see it, and or maybe towards sunset or something. But that was a big bright one. I think that one might be coming back before I die, maybe or maybe not. But yeah, this one, maybe see it, pretty cool. And then on October 23rd, there's going to be a solar eclipse, a partial solar eclipse, depending on where you are. Again, will depend on the kind of view you can have. Up near the Arctic and Canada, that country. Oh, did my Oh, right, I'm screen sharing. You'll get a solar eclipse like this, and it's going to be the afternoon, I think. Yeah. It'll be, I don't know if they mentioned the time, but this is kind of a good example of where you'll be able to see it. So down in Florida, you'll get a tiny sliver, but up north, you'll get a nice chunk of it. Over in the east, you'll maybe get a tiny sliver of it, which is bad because if you want to look at the sun, you get more sun, and you don't want to do that. They say in this video you shouldn't look at the sun anyway. But there are ways to look at the sun. You can get special glasses and stuff, but also there's certain types of cellophane and things that you can get just to cover a camera and look directly at the sun. I remember when, I don't know if you've ever seen the transit of Venus, but that's where Venus moves in front of the sun, and that's very difficult to see unless you have some kind of protective eyewear and stuff. And I think I took some photos with my film camera back in the early 2000s of with a special filter over the lens to capture that. That was pretty cool to watch, a little dot move across the sun. So that's the things. That's like the three kind of things that are happening in October. Pretty exciting stuff. Besides just looking up and seeing planets and stuff. Um, if you have an observatory near you, that's handy. Um, I wonder, is there any observatories on Long Island? I haven't really ever investigated that.
I don't know.
I feel like out
There
east there
actually
should be.
might be. I feel like TJ has been to one. I think TJ and Kyle would know. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad they're here.
Yep.
Um,
I don't know why I even mentioned that, but they would know.
no, well, I mean, that's helpful. I can ask them, but I wish I would know it on this show. Um, tell me about your babysitting adventures.
So I have. I've only really babysat one time in my life. Well, like I babysat more than once, but I've only babysat my cousins, so it's been. Sorry, I feel like I'm echoing. It's been interesting babysitting someone who I'm not related to. So I babysit for this family, and I babysit for Ben and Amy. They're very nice, and I babysit for their kids. Tegan is 11, and she is super, super smart. She's very studious. She's very, she can be pretty sassy, but not rude, never disrespectful. Um, she's really, really sweet, and she, I thought she was like 15 or 16, honestly, but she's 11. Yeah, she's very mature for her age, and she has gone through a lot of growth spurts and growing so far, so she looks way older than 11. And then Curran is the son of the family, and he is 9 years old, and he is a handful. He is also very sweet, but he has a very hard time concentrating, so it's really challenging to help him with his homework a lot. Um, he hates math, and I totally relate to him on that because I hated math too, and he's not good at it, I'm not good at it. So I'm trying to help him learn his multiplication tables, and doing multiplication and division is very difficult, especially if you don't know your times tables. And he he went to he went to his private school last year, him and Tegan both, um, because their public school in their town is very dangerous and very not good. So they're in this private school, and Curran, even though he was in third grade at the time, he was put in second grade math because he was having a lot of trouble with it. So this year, he went from doing second grade math last year as a third grader to as a fourth grader doing fourth grade math. So he kind of skipped a whole year of math, which I'm sure was pretty difficult for him. I don't know how much he actually missed, but he is having a lot of trouble, and he's not a fan of math to begin with. So um, I ordered off Amazon this multiplication game that I'm hoping that um, the family will play with him, and I'll play with him, and Tegan also will play with him, to try to help him learn his multiplication tables, and also to practice division a little bit too.
What is it, like a board game or something?
Yeah, it's like a board game I found on Amazon. I looked up a bunch of things. I also might get triangle flashcards. Well, it's like rounded flashcards, but let's say, so there's three little corners to put stuff in. So it'll be like a 7, a 2, and a 14. So I'm not sure exactly how the flashcards go, or if it's like a game, but you can do like, you can cover one end, and it's like 7 times 2 is what?
Yeah.
14, and then 14 divided by 2 is what? 7. So um, I I did read about that, and I put that on a list. I might buy it in the future, but that's what I bought for him. It's supposed to come from Amazon in the mail tomorrow. It'll be delivered. Um, so yeah, so they're a vegan household. Um, they have a dog and a cat. Their dog is named Jonesy, and their cat is named Jillian. Um, they the cat
So we
is
know their passwords now.
I don't know the way to Ben. Where the
Yeah, Ben is pretty like tech savvy, so I don't think that's any of his passwords.
Ben has 2 Linux servers working down in the basement.
Yeah, he has 2 Linux servers in the basement. And a couple other things too, but I don't remember right now. But and he owns his own business, so I'm sure he knows. Yeah. Um, so I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So I was telling Tegan and Amy, which is the mother Amy. So I was telling Tegan and Amy. Sorry, Vidler's lights are like motion censored. So his lights just went off because he was too still, so he was like waving around, trying to turn the lights back on. So yeah, so I was telling Amy and Tegan, like I have a lot of clothes that I was gonna donate that I've been going through my room and putting aside a lot of things like purses and clothes and stuff like that to donate, and I was wondering if she wanted to take a look at them before I donated them. And she's like, yeah, definitely, because we were talking about how we would get hand-me-downs from other people, and they were great clothes, and it's like free clothes or whatever. So
Yeah.
I brought 3 garbage bags full of clothes, and one of the garbage bags had, I would say, like 3/4 purses, and then clothes in the other quarter of it. Like 2 white garbage bags and 1 black huge garbage bag full of clothes. So I brought that over to her house today when I babysat them, and I took it out of the car when Amy got home. I told Tegan I had it, but I wanted her to go through it with her mom when she got there. So me and Tegan and Kern brought the bags in the house, and I was going through one of the bags with them just to show like this has this in it and this and this, and I pulled out a couple of my shirts, and I was like, this is a dress that I wore, whatever. And then I pulled something out, and I realized that they were a pair of Uggs. So I brought a pair of Uggs to a vegan household, which was pretty embarrassing.
Oh, what they're like? They're really into like anything, like clothing and stuff too.
Well, they didn't like freak out. They're a very chill family. Like they're very
Yeah.
laid back is the word. But I felt really bad, and she's like, "Don't feel bad, it's okay." And I was like, "But I feel really bad." She's like, "That's okay, we'll just donate it," because Amy said like, I was like, "Well, just let Tegan go through whatever she wants, whatever you want, you can take, and then I can donate it." She's like, "No, we'll donate it." I'm like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Yeah, you don't have to take the clothes back and donate them. We'll donate them." I'm like, "Okay." So so yeah, so she's like, "It's okay, we'll just put it away and donate." And Kern's like, "I want to try them on," and then his mom was like, "No."
No, don't get the sheep's skin on your skin.
I felt kind of bad, but it was okay. And then Amy made me feel a little bit better because she told me that a few years ago her mom bought her a wallet for Christmas, but it was a real leather wallet. So Amy opened it and she's like, "This is nice. Do you want it?" And her mom was like, "It's not real leather." And she's like, "Are you sure? Because it smells like leather." And then her mom's like, "It's not." And then her sister grabbed it and she's like, "Mom, it says right here it's leather." Like it's real leather. But yeah.
I wanna try something quickly. So I wanna catch the moon set, which is in like 10 minutes. But I can't really do that from here, so I was gonna ride home really quickly. I want to see, and I'm also curious if this will work. So I think I can like give you presenter control, or I don't know what presenter everyone means, but yeah, I don't know what else I could do. I wonder if people are asking questions. I don't. Okay, there's no questions yet. I'm just gonna like close my computer because sometimes it does magic and like just continues whatever you were doing. So you stay on it, and if it's still going, continue talking what you're talking about. And I have some questions about your babysitting stuff too. So I should be like less than 10 minutes, but I'm gonna try and see if this works. So be right back.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
It says that I'm still live, so I guess I'm presenting. Presenting to no one, except people who are listening later. Yeah, so the kids are really, really sweet, and like I said, it's very challenging, and I spend most of the time that I'm babysitting, or like, they're not really babies, so when I'm watching the kids, I spend most of the time doing homework with Curran. So the typical day is that I'll go in the house, I'll try to let Jonesy out, but Jonesy will not go out without Curran. So I'm like, come on, Jonesy, and then he doesn't go out. The kids come home when they get off the bus. Sometimes I meet them at the bus, sometimes they come in the house. It's really cool. They have, at their front door, they don't have to use a key. It's a padlock, so they can just type in their code and then they get in the house, which is pretty cool. So they come in the house. I say hi to them both. They get to snack on something. Tegan goes upstairs to do her homework. Curran takes Jonesy out and kind of gets some of his energy out. Runs around with Jonesy, plays basketball in the backyard with their hoop. Stuff like that, just to kind of let his energy go down a little bit before we start on homework, or else he has even a harder time concentrating. Then after that, we try to start on homework. Today was especially challenging because today I couldn't get Curran to come sit down and pay attention to even start homework for an hour. So they had been home an hour, and then I finally got Curran to concentrate enough to look at his planner with me and open up the first thing of homework. We did some of his math questions, but he really lost interest pretty fast, which is understandable because he, like I said before, he hates math. He's not good at math, so he hates it even more, and I was the same way. But he needs to do his homework, and he needs to learn his times tables. So it's really challenging to try to figure out how to help someone learn their times tables because I'm almost 23. I'm not 9. So I don't know. I don't remember. It's kind of out of my deal. I don't really know how to help, but I'm trying. I'm trying to think of what else to explain. They're a really cool family. I'm just going to sit here and say how cool they are. Derek put me on the spot. I had no idea I was going to be sitting here by myself. I wish someone else was here to ask me questions. Derek, when you listen back to this, I hate you. Not really, but grr.
Grr.
Grr. Oh. I get paid cash, which is nice too. They have a little money clip that they have hanging up in their kitchen, which I didn't know about until today, but that's where I just take my money from. They don't like hand me money. Really? They don't. I mean, Ben and Amy both have given me money, but Amy told me today that I can just take it from the clip. She's like, you take whatever. I'm like, what? Because I know how much I'm supposed to be getting paid an hour. And then she's like, yeah. So I was just like, this is weird. I'm like holding a bunch of money in the clip. Apparently, all the girls who babysit them, they just take what we're supposed to get paid.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's really cool that they trust us that much. Curran has these really awesome glasses that he wears. His regular glasses are very circular. They're like thicker framed Harry Potter glasses, and they are so cool. We did, yeah, so when he was having a really hard time concentrating in math, I compromised with him and I said, why don't we try doing another subject? So we did science, which was funny because I'm sure he realized this, but he didn't like think about it. His science homework was just math. It was, it wasn't bad though. It was just subtraction. So there were two little things. I don't think they're beakers. I don't know. So one had like volume of a liquid, and then the second thing had an object in it, and then the volume. So you had to find the volume of the object. So you took the volume of the liquid with the object in it minus the volume of just the liquid.
Right.
So it was like 15 minus 12, like very simple stuff, but we had to count the lines, and then some of the beakers, or whatever they're called, the granulates or whatever they're called, some of them were counting in twos, so I had to help him differentiate that. And that took a while, just because he'll hear a noise, or he'll just go on a tangent about something. We'll talk about, he's like, that's a weird looking flower, and like, that's the biggest flower ever, talking about the ditto of his science homework.
Okay.
And what was being measured, and you can't tell if it's really a flower, but that's what he thought it was.
That's what you saw, yeah.
So, and then he starts talking to me about flowers, and I'm trying to be patient, but if I just let him go, he'll just keep going. Yeah, go, just going further and further away. I was trying so hard to nicely coax him back to what we were trying to work on.
Right.
It's just very challenging at times. I don't. Really?
Yeah, I was a very hyperactive kid. I probably could have been diagnosed with ADD if my mom let it happen, but she didn't.
Vera has ADD or ADHD, I think she said. One of them. I don't know. I think ADD. And she said that she's not going to say this to Amy, obviously, unless she's asked, but she feels like he does. And I'm not a doctor, but from what my friends that have it,
experience.
I can see that would be something that I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I was the kid who I told you why I got left back. I was bouncing off the walls when they were doing this test thing at the school I was going to go to get in kindergarten, and they said, we want to put him in the remedial.
Your mom was like, nope.
My mom went, fuck that shit.
F that ass.
And I got kept back in preschool for an extra year, went to a different school. And then the next year, I did the same test again, passed with flying colors, and I went into kindergarten as the oldest kid in the grade. I was the oldest kid in the grade until 8th grade. And I think I was the oldest kid in my high school until... I might not have been. I don't know. I know I was the oldest kid in my 8th grade graduation class.
And I was the youngest. I was one of the youngest. I think I shared my birthday with 2 or 3 other people. And there were 2 people that I went to school with, in high school at least, who had birthdays on Christmas. And mine's Christmas Eve.
Right.